a saying you've probably heard, good things come in small packages, which I don't think makes any sense. I don't think that's true, but it is true for the Toyota GR86. Hi, this is Joe from Scarff Ford, and today we're talking about this beautiful 2023 Toyota GR86. This is a 10th anniversary special edition, which was limited to only 860 units. You could probably guess why. Okay, GR86, what does that mean? Well, this started its life off as a Scion. I think it was a Scion TC, but unfortunately Scion got taken behind the woodshed by Toyota, but the car was so good that it still lived on as a Toyota, so they had to give it a different name because they're no longer a Scion. So they rebadged as a Toyota and they called it the 86. Now the GR86. If we go back a little, rewind into Toyota history, if we go back in history into I think the mid 80s, there's a little rear wheel drive Toyota called the 86. It doesn't really look anything special, but it gained notoriety as an amazing handling vehicle. It became popular in drifting. There is even a there's even a comic book series, anime, and then eventually a live action movie or series called Initial D. And the whole premises of this thing is, you know, rather than having a big high horsepower vehicle, you know, driving on these very curvy Japanese roads, this small car with a smaller engine was just so light on its feet and had such a great balance and amazing handling that it would keep up and outpace, you know, much more powerful and faster vehicles like RX-7s and GTRs and stuff like that. Really cool vehicle. So that's where the name 86 came for. GR, that's Toyota's racing division. I think it stands for Gazoo Racing. Like they call it, you know, they have the Super GR and stuff like that. So that's a little bit of history of the name. So for 2023, we have this limited edition of the 86 with this really cool paint job. We got these black wheels. We have this catback exhaust with the black tinted exhaust tips, looking very good. All the premium equipment, normally optional on the 86, is standard on the anniversary edition. Then you have this really cool interior. You can see it says 10th anniversary. You have this nice Alcantara kind of cloth throughout. Nice synthetic leather and contrast stitching. Beautifully accented and comfortable seats. It is a small car. I probably wouldn't fit back there, but okay for kids. This one's a beautiful example, pretty much in collector's edition. This only has 3,359 miles, all season mats. You have this beautiful contrast stitching, contrasting colors throughout. You can get these with an automatic, but this is a car, the number one reason this car was built. Some cars are built for commuting, some cars or trucks are built for towing, vehicles are built for towing. This was 100% built for driving enjoyment, for fun, kind of like the Miata. And you don't need 500 horsepower. 500 horsepower can be fun, but a car like this with, I think it's a 238 horsepower if I remember correctly. You know, it's not as much as like a 460 horsepower Mustang or a, you know, 480 horsepower Supra. But the thing is, this car is very forgiving. It has near perfect weight distribution. It has a really, it has an amazing gearbox. And there's a saying, it's more fun to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. Maybe if you're on a racetrack doing a track day, if you have a 400 or 500 horsepower sports car, you can really get it up and going, but not so much on public roads. So it's not quite as fun to drive a Corvette or a Mustang while trying to keep your license and, you know, keep yourself on pavement, not driving off the road while having fun. This is a car that you can really push hard and not endanger yourself and your license as much. But, you know, this car still can't overcome stupidity if you really put yourself in a pickle. But it's a lot more forgiving than a, you know, 500 horsepower rear drive, you know, Corvette or Mustang, where it can make us lightning quick. It can snap around lightning quick and send you in the ditch. You know, it can still happen in this thing, but it's a lot harder. You can push this car faster. You can push it harder in curvy roads, getting the throttle more without having to worry about the tail kicking out with so much power. It is very rewarding to drive. It's almost like conservation of momentum. Like it's, you keeping up your speed on these curvy serpentine roads versus of just like, having horsepower and just pinning against the seat. This thing is still quick by, many standards. 0 to 60 is right around 5.5 seconds. This is a small car with over 230 horsepower. It is really quick, but it's not, supercar quick. But the combination of not being overpowered, they could have easily have given this thing 300 plus horsepower if they wanted to, but that's not the whole idea behind a vehicle like this. It's a balanced sports car. The engine matches the performance of the chassis. It's not going to overpower it. You have this amazing 6-speed gearbox. Manual gearboxes are kind of a thing going away, and there's nothing more rewarding than a great manual transmission. That intimate connection the driver has with the vehicle, that mechanical connection, which you don't get with automatic transmissions or dual clutch automated transmissions, the automated manual transmissions. It's a little bit more effort to learn how to drive a manual, but believe me, it's well worth it. It is so much fun. We have a fantastic infotainment system, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We have a rear parking camera. You have a drive mode selector, which will make changes to the stability control and things like that. Heated seats. This thing is in near pristine condition, hardly a mark on it, near new condition. And it's a 10th anniversary, so very limited production. Like I said, 860 units, which is appropriate for a vehicle called the 86. Automatic dimming mirror, universal garage door opener, nice all-season mats, aluminum pedals, really nice styling, darling of the automotive press. One of my favorite automotive publications, Car and Driver magazine, they have a CD rating, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 being the best. This got a 10 out of 10. It also got the Editor's Choice Award and was nominated to their annual top 10 best list. This is a car that is loved by car enthusiasts. If you're a car enthusiast and you don't like this car, maybe you're not a car enthusiast. Okay, so look what we have here. This is very un-Toyota-like, a flat 4 engine. It says Subaru on it. Yes, the 86 was made in conjunction with Subaru in partnership. So it does use Subaru components and Toyota components. I think it's actually a little bit more Subaru than it is Toyota. The Subaru is sold under the BRZ brands. They look and feel and sound very similar. So I guess it's all personal preference whether you want an 86 or a BRZ. It's kind of almost like splitting hairs. Obviously this is an anniversary edition, which I don't know if they have one for the BRZ. Probably nothing like this as far as the colors and the look goes. But yeah, that flat 4 engine's amazing. It's naturally aspirated. I find with WRXs and STIs that are turbocharged, when they get higher up in the miles, one of the cylinders has a tendency to overheat with those turbocharged engines. So being naturally aspirated, I think this will be a little bit more reliable and a little bit longer lasting. When you add forced induction to an engine, it makes it more powerful, but it also puts more stress on it. So the natural aspiration is great, and over 200 horsepower, I think, like I said, 238, that is plenty of power for a small vehicle like this. This isn't much bigger than a Miata in reality as far as size goes. It's a nimble little sports car that's an absolute joy to drive. And speaking of driving, how about we get behind the wheel and just take it for a little spin around the block. I'm not gonna go crazy. We represent a dealership, but let's take it for a drive. It's been a little while since I've driven one of these, and I love manual gearboxes. All right, here we go, taking this GR86 out for a spin. That catback exhaust sounds sweet. It snaps, crackles, and pops. Lets that little flat 4 sing. I love the unique sound and power characteristics of a flat 4. Subaru, obviously, Toyota via Subaru is one of the only car companies that make a flat 4 configuration. Another car company that uses a flat 4 is Porsche. The 911 has used a flat 6 in the 911, and they now use a flat 4 in the Boxster and the Cayman. You have nice precise shifts with a 6-speed gearbox, one of the best in the business. Got some railroad tracks. Even though it's a stiff suspension, it goes over imperfections in the road, railroad tracks, relatively smooth. Nice clutch engagement. The steering is telepathic. This thing just wants to dart through corners, and you have power galore. A lot of traffic today going this way. This is an engine that likes to rev a little bit. The RPM, the red line is a little over 7,000 RPM, so you have to rev a little bit to get power, but once you do, it's very rewarding. And any reason to utilize a 6-speed gearbox even more is good news for you, because it's just wonderful changing gears. You'll just, this thing's so nice, you're gonna find yourself just changing gears for no reason. It just feels so good. Yeah, I mean, it corners with authority. And you can definitely tell that this thing's not gonna overpower the vehicle in corners. I mean, I can pin the throttle and there's no danger of me spinning the rear tires. Me spinning the rear tires and driving off the road. Especially on top of that, this has a great stability control system too. So when you put it in track mode, the gauge cluster changes. It has a little bit more of a racing style gauge cluster. And then obviously the traction control, and maybe the stability control is probably shut off as well. It feels like throttle response has definitely gone up too when you put it in track mode. Obviously when you shut off the traction control and stability control, you have to be extra careful, especially when driving in the wet, because those electric nannies that make you feel like you're a championship driver, when they go away, they can humble you very quickly when you end up in the ditch on the side of the road. This one, I could tell the power delivery is not so abrupt that it, and it's dry. I just want to kind of see how, if it accelerates any better with the traction control off. Yeah, it feels like it's a little quicker. And as dramatic as that sounds, I'm not going over this speed limit. I'm going, right around 40 in a 35 zone. Like I said, this is a car that you can have fast, running through the gears, pushing it, pinning the throttle without, risking your driver's license. There's a Corvette coming up behind me, and it's going to have to push it. He's going to have to push it a lot harder to have as much fun as I'm having in this thing on public roads. Well, I think that's pretty much the fun of our little trip around the block. I wish I had more exotic roads around Auburn, Washington to drive on, but unfortunately nothing close, approaching rush hour. Thanks so much for taking the time today to watch this video. We're Scarff Ford. We've been in business 103 years. We've been serving the Seattle-Tacoma area. For those 103 years, located in Auburn, Washington, we sell new Fords, new Isuzus, and a very wide variety, as you can see, of premium vehicles. If you enjoy this content and are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.